Hello and welcome to this labor and birth vlog. I wanted to give you a little intro and kind of tie everything together. My goal for this video was to show like leading up to labor, the days leading up to my labor, and then me going into labor and kind of have it vlog style. But because of everything that was going on during my labor and birth, I really didn't get many videos of me actually being in labor. Most of the early labor and the days leading up to it are going to be vlog style, and then I will be popping in to explain what happened during the actual labor and birth. I'm going to be sharing both my experience and looking back, maybe some things that I would have done differently and things that I'm really glad that I did and things that I'm so glad that I knew and that I want to make sure that you guys know. So with that being said, let's get into this video. Hello guys and welcome to this video. We are officially on labor watch. It is my due date. I'm 40 weeks today. I have been running some errands and stuff, so I picked up an Ollie prenatal because I'm out of mine, and I'm realizing that prenatals with iron definitely make me feel sick. So we are back to a gummy prenatal. I also went ahead and picked up some curtains for the nursery, so I will put those up and show you how that looks. And then I think I'll be able to do my nursery tour video. So I'm excited about that because I love how our nursery looks. So a little update, I have been crampy so far all day. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon right now. So it's been happening since 10 o'clock-ish. So it's not been that long, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it turns into something. I will keep you updated. Curtains are up. They are supposed to be blackout curtains. It's not dark in here. It'll do for now. I just got white, but clearly the white does not do a very good job. Update, it is 6 p.m. and the cramps have stopped an hour or two ago. So I'm mad. I went on another walk trying to get things started again. I have gotten 12,000 steps in already today. Nothing's happening now. Good morning. I am still pregnant. I am 40 weeks and 1 day today. Let's please go into labor today. Nothing really is happening right now. I just woke up not too long ago. It's not quite 8 o'clock. We'll see. I'll keep you updated if anything happens. All right, update. It is 12:13 p.m. I went for a long walk again, a 1.5 mile walk this morning, and there's not been a lot going on. I've been crampy off and on since waking up this morning, but I'm just ignoring it because this has been happening so much that I just don't believe that it ever will turn into anything. So I'm going to try to find a bunch of things to do. I'm gonna scrub my shoes, I think. I only wear one pair of shoes and they are looking rough, so I'm gonna wash them. I don't know, I'm just trying to find things to do right now. All right, so I washed my shoes and I'm currently doing a load of laundry and definitely feeling crampy. So that's good, but I'm ignoring it. I'm not gonna try to time it or anything. As soon as I'm done with this laundry, I'm gonna take a nap and see what happens after that. But my goal has been as soon as I start going into labor and feeling contractions, I want to sleep because I want to go into labor being as well rested as I can. So we'll see, but for the most part, I'm just ignoring this. All right, so it's currently 11:12 and I just finished a load of laundry, making the bed. I went on a walk earlier and was feeling a little crampy after that. I took a shower, did my hair. That's a once a week thing, so I'm hoping that's my last time doing it before having the baby. I have this playlist that I play when I'm cleaning and stuff, dance the baby out essentially. So we're trying to do that, and then I think I'm gonna go for a hike with my husband this afternoon. Look, it's time to get this baby out. We'll see if it works. I just woke up from my nap, but I'm pretty sure I am continuing to lose my mucus plug today. So that's kind of the only other symptom happening. I'm still kind of crampy off and on too, but again, I'm just gonna keep ignoring it. Good morning. It is about 8:30 in the morning and I am still not in labor. I am 40 weeks and 2 days today. So hopefully today is the day that I go into labor. It is currently 9:13. I'm going for a walk. And I have been feeling a little bit crampy, so we're gonna go for a nice long walk. Currently following this video. I've followed this video a couple of times, but the past few days, it does seem to really help, like, keep the cramps going. So we are doing everything to get labor going today. Hopefully it works. Hiking the baby out. We are 40 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's time.
That's right. let him come this weekend.
We just walked up a bunch of stairs. So okay.
I think he thinks we're not here.
Yeah, definitely. It is currently 3:30 in the morning, and I seem to be maybe having contractions every 5 minutes. They're not super painful. They feel like Braxton Hicks, like my stomach gets hard and it wraps around to my back. And sometimes also I get a crampy feeling with it. We'll see. I'm gonna try to go back to sleep. It's currently 9:52 a.m. I'm on my walk. I'm gonna try to go for a really long walk and get things going a little more. It is 8:40 p.m. and I'm still not in labor. I really thought that I was earlier. Contractions started last night around 10 p.m. continued all night, were 5 minutes apart, and lasted until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon today, and then went away. And they were feeling different. They were consistent. The only thing was they were just not getting any more intense, and then they just went away. Nothing really to update. I'm still feeling some things, but nothing's happening still, essentially. Our 41-week appointment is tomorrow because technically, according to my last menstrual period, I would be 41 weeks tomorrow. So I'm planning to ask for a membrane sweep if I'm dilated enough. I will update with how that goes. Okay, guys. This is the start of my labor vlog because my water broke. It was not obvious whatsoever. It's just been trickling out a little bit at a time, like every 2-ish hours when I stand up or even just laying down. I am having contractions, but they are not intense at all yet. And I just woke up, so I haven't timed them yet. I feel one starting now though, so I'm gonna time them. I called my doula. She said, you know, hang out at home. No rush to go to the hospital unless you would feel more comfortable going right away. I'm gonna get stuff in order and I will keep you updated.
Today might be the big day. Left work this morning when Lydia told me to come home and we're curb walking. It could be the day. So we're very excited. And we're looking forward to meeting that little guy.
Yes.
And soon we'll have a video of going on a walk with him.
Yeah. We're leaving our house for the last time. What am I trying to say? The next time that we'll be at our house, we'll have our baby. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
How
Exciting.
You feel?
I'm excited. I was nervous earlier, but it'll all be good. I'm excited. It's 10:05. Left. I got to work this morning, and then within like an hour, I left work. So
full day.
Yeah, full day's work and no time at all.
Let's go. It's currently 11:21. I'm not sure exactly at what point this all of a sudden ramped up. Like 11 o'clock, I think. All of a sudden, they started getting very painful and close together. So we're just going straight to the hospital, and that's all.
Nothing like a pre-birth meal, huh? Some nice cold homemade chicken noodle soup. Ooh.
It is currently a little after 2 p.m. I was able to take a little nap, which is wonderful, but I've not really been feeling much contractions-wise. I mean, I think I still am having them, but they are not as intense as they were in the car. But I think no matter what, we're gonna go to the hospital in the next like hour or two, but I'm hoping to get them to pick up again. I think we'll go for a walk and whatnot, but right now we're just going to watch High Potential and relax for a little bit longer and then try to get the contractions going again.
All right, here we go. It's an update. It's about 3 p.m. now.
We were doing this morning.
Yep, we're doing the curb walking again. Lydia got a little bit of a nap in earlier, so that was good, and we ate a little bit more, so things are just kind of calm right now, so
Trying to get things going.
trying to get things going, so that's the afternoon update.
So update, it's 5 p.m. and we just picked up some food. We are on our way to the hospital and the drive is working to get things going again.
Yep, nice bumpy highway.
Yes, very uncomfortable, but it's good because I've not really been feeling much lately. We ended up going to the hospital, and then as soon as I got out of the car, because like contractions were ramping up on that drive, because it was like an hour and 15-minute drive. But as soon as I got out of the car and stood up, it was like better. So we walked around there a little bit, and then we ended up going to my friend's house to hang out there for a while, which I'm very glad we did, because we ended up being there for like 4 hours or something.
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours.
I was able to take a nap. We did some walking, some curb walking. I did some stretching. Sat on the birth ball while we watched a show for a little bit. So now at this point we just feel more comfortable going to the hospital with my water being broken as long as it has. So hopefully things start to progress though on their own here in the next few hours.
I've got a fun night.
We made it to our room. We're checked in. It's like almost 7 o'clock.
7:06.
Oh, it is 7 o'clock. Nurses and midwives are switching out, but I'm 2 centimeters dilated, 70% effaced, -1 station. So basically the last video clip that I have is of us in the hospital around like 7:30 after we had checked in. So at this point I need to explain what all happened, and as time goes on I'm quickly forgetting like what exactly happened and what time. And keep in mind, I do not remember specific times for things happening because I thankfully forgot my watch. So I didn't have a watch. I was not looking at the time at all. I was in labor land and I was just dealing with the contractions as they came. So I really don't have a strong handle on what time things were happening, but I will explain things as best as I can. So we had gotten checked into a room in the hospital at about 7. And because my water broke and I was technically 41 weeks at that point, they were like, you know, we don't even need to like do the typical triage thing with you. We know that you're going to be staying, so we're not going to put you in a triage room. We're just going to put you in a room and get you checked in. And the other reason they did that is because triage was full. So that was interesting. So once we got all settled in, the first midwife came in and discussed with us our options. Because my water had broken and had been broken for some time at this point, roughly 12 hours for sure that it had been broken, we discussed like options because my contractions weren't going anywhere. They were really, really light. Like I could barely feel them. They were very sporadic. We needed to do something to encourage labor along. So it was basically pitocin or try to pump. So I did go ahead and pump for an hour or 2, and we basically did, I don't know, it was like 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off. I can't remember exactly what we ended up doing. That did help to get some stronger contractions, but it didn't help things to be consistent. So after doing that, like I said, I think it was about 2 hours, we decided to go ahead with pitocin because we kind of didn't have another option. I really didn't want to do pitocin, but again, I didn't have a choice, and I was okay with that ultimately. Like I just wanted baby to be here safely. So what we did was we asked that they didn't keep like bumping pitocin up. So typically what they will do is they will keep bumping the pitocin up every 30 minutes until they're happy with it, I guess. I asked because of my doula's recommendations, which I am so thankful I had a doula, and I cannot stress enough, I highly recommend that if you are able to financially, you do hire a doula and be really picky. I was very picky, and it wasn't even like specific things I was looking for. It was like I just was looking for someone who I clicked with and I would feel super comfortable with, because I mean, you are being very vulnerable in front of them, and I could not have picked a better doula. If you are local or like you do know me, feel free to reach out and I will give you her information because she was amazing. So they started me at the lowest level of pitocin, which they do it in like levels of 2. So the lowest is 2. And they started that around 12:30 a.m. And they said like, you're not going to feel anything at first. It will take some time. But honestly, like 10 minutes in, I started to feel the contractions. They started to get stronger and very consistent. just at a 2. And so when they came in 30 minutes later, I asked like, hey, can we wait another 30 minutes? Like wait till it gets to an hour before we consider like bumping it up. And they were okay with that. And so then when she came back again in an hour, I asked if we could keep it at a 2 because I was really feeling the contractions. They were really consistent and I felt like, you know, it was adequate at a 2. And they were okay with that because they could also see, they had me hooked up to the monitor. They could see the contractions, they could see they were getting more consistent. And so they were, you know, content with that. But that's just something that I never would have known to ask, that I never would have known that I could even ask without having my doula. So just know that that is an option. If you do have to be on pitocin, definitely advocate for it to be used sparingly. Good nurses and doctors should want to do that anyways. But there might be cases that you do have to advocate for yourself and just make sure like, hey, can we keep this at the lowest level possible? Because if it is working, if it's doing the job, then there's no reason to increase it. If it's too high, that's where you get what pitocin is known for. Really strong contractions, really close together, if not back to back, when you're not even in active labor. So at this point, it is 1:30-ish. After that hour has gone by, again, I asked for it to be kept at a 2, and then a little later on, I think they might have bumped it up to a 4 to get things a little stronger, but I don't remember when that happened. The very highest they had it was at a 6, but they had to put it right back down because my contractions were way too like back to back. So I was either at a 2 or a 4, basically the whole labor. Now I labored through the night. The contractions were strong enough that I wasn't able to sleep, unfortunately, but I was able to nap like leading up to before getting on pitocin. All 3 of us, me, my doula, and my husband, were able to get a little nap in at least. But once I was on pitocin, I knew I wasn't going to be able to sleep. Thankfully though, my husband and doula were able to. I was laboring fine on my own. I was having to start like breathing through them and just focus and just relax, but it wasn't anything too painful at that point. And I think at this point I was feeling kind of crampy like in the front and in my back, but active labor kind of overshadowed everything else, so I can't remember so much. Like it's kind of foggy, that early part of labor. So again, I labored throughout the night, and once it got to 6, 7 a.m., I remember like it getting lighter out and being so excited because I don't know, there's just something about being awake at night and being in labor at night. It just feels like you shouldn't be awake, and it's just harder. Once it's light out, it's like, I don't know, for some reason that really helped me. And also knowing like this is probably the day that my baby is going to be born was just really exciting. So definitely as it got light out, as the morning progressed, I was really starting to feel things and was really starting to have to work through things more, and needing my husband and the doula to kind of help me out and, you know, like doing the counter pressure. This is another thing about my labor. I ended up having like exclusively back labor. After that first like early labor, it just turned into 100% back labor, and it was extremely painful. The counter pressure was the only thing that gave me any relief. I could not lay on my back whatsoever, but even laying on my side was excruciating. The only position that I really liked was hands and knees, kind of like holding on to the back of the hospital bed. And I really liked that, having that flexibility of being able to do whatever I needed with the hospital bed. My doula was really good about helping me with that. So sometimes I would be standing like on the floor and leaning against the hospital bed, and you can make it go really high, or we'd have the bed kind of in its normal spot and just put the back up so I could be leaning against the back and then kind of on hands and knees. And I spent the majority of the time like that. I felt like I had bruises on my forearms from how much time I spent like that. I've got the baby on the monitor and he might be waking up. Hopefully not. He's been sleeping for like 15 minutes. So let's try to be quick. So I believe when, you know, the nurses changed shifts, which is like 7 a.m., the new midwife came in. I did not like this midwife. And I don't think it was fully her. I think it was because of the pain I was in, and I did not want people telling me what to do. I knew what I needed to do. I knew I needed to relax and I needed to breathe, and I was breathing in the way that was relaxing to me. I was doing what was working for me and what had been working for the past 12 hours. And then this lady came in and she's like, hey, you need to do this, and was breathing a certain way. And I'm like, no, like I am doing what works for me. So that was a little frustrating. But she was like, you're doing good, but I think you have a long ways to go still. And she just was really discouraging. And thankfully my doula could see that. And I mean, she heard her. She was like, hey, that was really discouraging to hear. Like, let's check in. Again, so glad that I had her. So because of that, I started to really like feel like, oh no, like, do I have a whole like 24 hours left? Like, I feel like I'm in active labor right now. Like, I'm really working through these contractions. And so I decided I did want to be checked. I hadn't been checked since we got checked in, and I was at 2 centimeters, and I can't remember how effaced I was or anything. I'll put that stuff up here. Again, that was right when they checked me in, around 7 p.m. So I decided I wanted checked again at this point. I think it ended up being around 8 or 9 a.m. that I got checked, and I was at 5.5 centimeters, which was good, but I felt like I was in active labor. I was sure I was at an 8 at that point. Baby's awake. Intermission. All right, baby's awake and hungry, so we're multitasking. I'm feeding him, so if you hear anything, that's what that is. As I was saying, keep in mind when you're on pitocin, you're gonna feel like you're in active labor before you're in active labor, just because of the pitocin. It was disheartening, and that's where things started to go downhill for me, and I think it would have, even if I wouldn't have gotten checked, because of what the midwife had said, and just because I was getting tired. I had labored all night. I was tired. I was in a lot of pain. It was only getting worse. At this point, we also discovered the tub, which I was so excited to use into labor in, was not going to work. I wasn't going to be able to use it, and that is because the hot water was not working. It was only ice cold water. We tried to have like the maintenance guy come in and fix it, and I'm like in active labor, and this maintenance guy is in there. There was a curtain we could put up and stuff, but still, I was not able to use the tub. I was very disappointed. Thankfully, the shower worked. The shower had hot water, so I really started to utilize that at this point, and that was huge. So if you have a shower that is at your disposal that you can use in labor, I highly recommend. If not a tub. I wish that I had that, but the shower definitely helped. So I'm in labor, I'm laboring, things are difficult. This all became such a blur, but I was getting really tired at this point. I was basically incoherent. Could not focus, like I couldn't get my eyes to work. It was kind of scary. So this was kind of getting to the point that I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm exhausted, I'm in a ton of pain, and I don't know how much longer this is gonna last. And I'm trying to be so real because I wanted to have a natural birth, and I think that can be really cool, but there's also a time and a place for an epidural. And so that is coming up in this story. But around 1 o'clock maybe, I think I got checked again because I went to the bathroom. I needed to poop, and I felt the urge to push. Like my body started pushing on the toilet, and I got so excited because I had really been starting to say like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And I know that that means you're in transition, and I was in transition, but it was like a bone deep, no, I can't do this. And even looking back, it's like I would not have been able to push him out in that state. I fully believe that. But when this happened, I told my husband, we're gonna meet our baby, like I'm gonna have this baby, I can do this. And he was so excited. He's like, yes, yes, you can. I got checked. I was only at like a 7.5 or 7. I was like, I'm throwing in the towel. I can't do that. I'm like, I feel the urge to push. How am I only at a 7? The midwife offered breaking my water, even though my water had already broken once. There was like a 4 bag that she could break that would help him drop down and speed things up. And I was getting desperate at this point. I was like, I can't do this for very much longer. I would not have had my waters broken, but because it already was broken, like that risk of infection was already there. If that makes sense, I was okay with taking that risk because the risk was already there, the increased risk of infection. We waited it out, we talked it out, and then she broke my water, checked me again, like maybe 30 minutes later, and I was at an 8 at that point. Is that right? I can't remember. It's all starting to blur. But once she broke my water, things got serious. The increased pressure was crazy. I was starting to feel like I was being split in half, and each contraction I felt just almost panicky. I was like, oh my goodness, like I feel like I'm splitting in half. My back felt like it was breaking. Again, trying to be positive, but at the same time be realistic. The contractions were really intense at this point. My water broke multiple times. There were some really big gushes of fluid. I had a lot of water in there and it was just crazy. It just kept breaking. So yeah, I can't exactly remember. I think after she broke my water, I think some time passed and then I might have had her check me one more time. And at that point I was at 8 centimeters. I don't remember exactly, but basically the last time they checked me, I was at 8 centimeters and I was like, I can't keep doing this. The fatigue, the bone deep tired, like I could not keep my eyes open. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to push him out and I was going to have a C-section because I was just so tired. So around 3:30, 4 o'clock, we made the decision to get the epidural. And once I got to that point, I was so impatient. Every moment felt like forever waiting for that epidural to come. They were pretty quick though. And then getting it was so smooth. You felt, you know, like the needle, the prick of the needle, but the pain was so great that all of the epidural stuff was just nothing. And it took some time for things to kick in. I would say a good 30 minutes, but once it fully kicked in, it was amazing. I ended up getting it around 4:30 and then I was able to rest, take a nap. All right, so I'm picking up filming the next day, so I'm sorry if anything changed here. But to continue on, they checked me again around 8 p.m. And at that point, I was at 10 centimeters and +2 station, which means that he was like almost crowning, like he was there. So I was ready to push. I wanted them to wait though, because my doula had just stepped out. I don't know if she was getting something to eat or if she needed to make a phone call, but she's like, don't have this baby while I'm gone. And of course they checked me and they're like, okay, you ready to push? You want to start pushing? And I'm like, no, wait, my doula just stepped out. So we waited for her to get back. And then around 8:30, I started to push. And even though I had the epidural, they were very good about letting me be in whatever position I wanted. I was also very like adamant. I was like, I don't want to push on my back if I don't have to. I was able to have enough movement in my legs that I was able to do like hands and knees on the bed, and I was able to be on my side. I ended up mostly being on my side because what I didn't like about hands and knees on the bed was that I couldn't use the mirror. If you have an epidural, I highly recommend that you ask to use the mirror so that as you're pushing, you can see like if you're pushing effectively or not. Honestly, maybe even without the epidural, it would be helpful, but especially when you just can't feel what's going on. I just think it's really important to be able to see, you know, okay, when I'm pushing like this, it's effective, or when I'm pushing like this, nothing's happening. I think it would have taken me a lot longer to have him if I didn't have that mirror. I pushed for about an hour, and I feel like that's pretty good and pretty standard, especially for a first-time mom and with an epidural. I was really happy with how long it took. It didn't feel like a long time either. So like I said, hands and knees would have been fine, but because I couldn't, because of the angle that you're at, I couldn't use the mirror. So I didn't want to keep doing that because I had no idea if my pushes were effective. I mainly pushed on my side. That way my sacrum like had some room for movement. And so I was really happy about that. I was very happy that they let me push how I wanted. Now, I will insert a little trigger warning here. I will be discussing some things that went wrong. So if you just are really trying to be careful about just, you know, taking in positive things and not hearing any bad things that could happen, I totally understand that. And I will just put a timestamp on the screen of like what to skip to, or you can go, you know, in the timestamps of this video and just skip to the next one if you want. Totally understand and totally encourage that you do that if that is going to be what's best for you. I was starting to get an infection at this point because again, my water had just been broken for so long and they had checked me multiple times. You know, it's something that can happen, and it was something that did happen to me. And this is something that, looking back, there's not a whole lot I could have changed. I probably would have gone to the hospital right away. Like if this would happen to me again, I wouldn't feel comfortable staying at home. I would just want to go right in. I also still stand by my reasons for waiting to go to the hospital. So like, I definitely recommend you just go into the hospital. That's what the hospital recommends typically. None of this is medical advice either. This is just kind of me sharing my experience. But the reason why I waited was because I didn't want to introduce any bacteria with the checking and everything until I had to. We have someone joining us. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up quickly because filming has already taken so long. His shoulders got a little bit stuck, so the doctor really had to get in there, and I was so glad that I had the epidural for that. I got a 3rd-degree tear because of it. I almost passed out as soon as I had him, partially because of the infection. My heart rate was elevated, and then with pushing, kind of holding your breath, pushing, it was just a lot on my body. But I did not pass out thanks to my husband and doula. So there's kind of a lot going on when I gave birth. But all in all, it ended well. We have baby here, and they treated me. They were on the infection right away. They got me treated. I got a lot of antibiotics, and I had to stay a couple extra days at the hospital, but we are fine. And I honestly didn't really feel much. Like, I felt a little bit of a fever, but my elevated heart rate, I didn't even like notice. So that is all for my birth story. I also wanted to let you guys know that my channel has kind of been approved for the next step up. So I now am offering memberships. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check that out. That is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.